Okay, so let's bring in some force to this. So the way that I do explosions, bombs, typically, obviously, you know, there's always a few ways to do them, but I like to use metaballs. So metaballs were, you know, they're these kind of weird things which can be used to do almost like a liquidy. If we merge these together, and I'll show you kind of what they were, I think initially intended for. If I grab one and start to move it over, can see what they do. They kind of, you get this funny kind of fall off connection between the two, and you get this kind of liquidy effect, right? So, you know, well, we will have two later on, but for now, what I like to use them for is the fact that they're good for explosions. So you use a metaball, and then you need a force node, okay, and that will add a force attribute to this. So, you know, we've got this radial force which will push out in all directions from the center. So this metaball allows, you know, gives us that information that we know the middle and the outside, and we're kind of pushing towards the outside, right? And then we've got directional forces as well. So you can push in one direction based on your how close you are to the edge, I think, of the metaball. You got an axis, so, you know, pushing along one axis. So I'm gonna just set these up to 1. So pushing along the x-axis, pushing along the x. Okay, I've got vortex, which will, I think, suck into that, and then spiral will go around that axis. Okay, so that's all you need in out here. So I'm going to put out force, and then let's just position this initially. Just use a transform, and then maybe template the home. So let's just scale it up, put it something like that, and then maybe if we scale it in the Z, maybe longer like that. So this is kind of similar to our final shape, but we'll tweak it later on. And then if we dive inside here and use a pop metaball force. Okay, so remember, with any bullet simulation, you can use these pop forces. So, well, pop anything really, because, you know, under the hood where it's a pop simulation, right? So we just need to connect that up. So SOP, and then we go ahead and find that out force. I use capital letters because then that means it's at the top of this list. Easy to find. Okay, and then well, let's just start off with 1, see if anything happens. Not much, so I'm gonna escape, go back, and let's do 100. Okay, I'll just stop it there. Let me just, since we got something happening, let's go just into our out here and just run a flip book. It doesn't, no, it looks like it's going in the wrong direction, but we'll fix that now. We just go back to the start and just run a flip book and see, you know, the result. Okay, so yeah, it's not. It doesn't look like a nuclear bomb or anything, but you can kind of get a sense of what the why the metaball is cool is that it doesn't just apply, you know, one force, one just kind of even force all over. You can see there's, you know, there's different stuff going on. You know, these parts aren't breaking because it was inside here, but then within the ball itself, there's various. You know, you can see it's kind of getting all sucked into the middle there, which is actually a mistake. It's kind of being also pushed over to the side. You know, we've got different stuff going on. So it's a bit like, you know, this would be good for like a tornado or something, wouldn't it? You know, normally you would just apply like a, you know, for a wind or tornado, you just apply a force pushing and the whole thing would move to one side, which is not very interesting. But something like that, you know, you've got big chunks, smaller chunks, you know, pieces going down, pieces moving in this direction, but a general overall movement as well, which is why I like to use these. So, you know, it will require some tweaking definitely, but just, you know, this demonstrates why I like these the metaballs.